Hey folks, welcome back once again to Midwesthockey.info. This is the March 29th, 2017 edition. Tonight's Pro Hockey Report. We're going to start out tonight with the East Coast Hockey League. Last night it was the ECHL with a pretty important match. And tonight there's 5 games in the ECHL. And some of them are pretty vital, as the teams are getting closer to that playoff line there. The one that for me is the most interesting is the Missouri Mavericks. A year ago they cruised through the season and dominated really almost all year. Were easily the top team in the league throughout the season. This year they find themselves in the final weeks of the campaign fighting tooth and nail to get into the playoffs. As a matter of fact, as of right now, the team out of Kansas City is out of the playoffs. They are, I think, 2 points behind the Alaska Aces. That's right, 2 points behind the Alaska Aces. They do have a game in hand, but the Alaska Aces hold on to that final playoff spot. So they will be playing tonight. They won't be using up the game in hand tonight, though, because the Aces are also in action in Fort Wayne, a game I'll be talking about in a minute. This is the first of the final 7 games of the season for the Missouri Mavericks. They'll be in Texas tonight to take on the Allen Americans. It's a tough team to play. They've won the Kelly Cup Championship the previous 2 seasons. And they've had the rough time with Allen this season as well, winning 3 out of 11 meetings so far and dropping 1 in overtime as well as 7 regulation losses. So this will be the 12th and final meeting for the Mavericks and Americans, and it'll be a tough test for the Missouri Mavericks, who really desperately need those 2 points. Also tonight, the Cyclones are another team trying to make a desperate sort of last week push. They'll be at home tonight to the Brampton Beast. They also are in 5th place right now, 2 points behind the South Carolina Stingrays in the South Division, but just 3 behind the Orlando Solar Bears, who are in 3rd. So they could make a big jump here in the final days if they can put a little bit of a streak together. Cincy has a 6-2 record through March so far, including a 4-1 road trip, which took them to Idaho and Alaska. Tonight, as I said, they're playing the Brampton Beast, and the Beast have put together a pretty solid season. This, however, will be the only meeting between the Cyclones and Brampton this year. The Brampton team will also be looking to get the 2 points as they're looking to unseat Adirondack on top of the North Division. So the Beast will be in the postseason. They're actually looking to go in as the division champion. I spoke earlier about the Aces, who will be in Fort Wayne. The Fort Wayne Comets will have something in common with the Aces. Both teams trying to hold on to the spot they're currently in. The Comets they're sitting 2nd in the Central Division. They have no shot at catching Toledo, who has been dominant in that division this year. But with 7 games to go, the Comets are looking to hang on to home ice advantage through the opening round of the playoffs. They currently sit 4 points ahead of Quad City, and they also have a couple games in hand. So, if as long as they can keep winning, they definitely control their own destiny, and they should carry home ice advantage into the first round, likely against the same Quad City Mallards. Again, this is another meeting of 2 teams for the first and only time this year. The Aces are, as we said earlier, looking to hold on to that final playoff spot in the Mountain Division. So, kind of an interesting game there for both teams as they try to sort of keep pace with a lot of them desperate teams. Not so vital, I suppose, is the Kalamazoo Wings, who are in Florida tonight. They're beginning a 3-game trip, I believe, to Florida tonight. The Wings are riding a 4-game winning streak and would love to stay hot. They appear to have locked up 4th spot in the Central, and the Everblades are within a point or two of clinching top spot overall, in the South. So that should be an interesting game. It's at Germain Arena. And the same two teams met earlier this week, or I guess it was last week actually, in Kalamazoo, with the Kalamazoo team holding on for a 3-2 win there. So this will be 3 games in a row in Florida, which will wrap up that 4-game series, a weird one, with just 1 game in Michigan, and the rest of them in Florida. The only other game in this involving Midwest teams in the ECHL tonight is in Rapid City. As the Rush, they're in last place in the Mountain Division. They really don't have a lot to play for, but they'll play spoiler tonight as the Utah Grizzlies, who are currently 6th in the Mountain, still with the playoff aspirations, though, just 3 points behind the Aces. Really could use these 2 points tonight, and the Rush will be trying to impede their progress. So that wraps it up for the ECHL. A quick rundown of those 5 games. In the NHL tonight, the Chicago Blackhawks will be at Pittsburgh. That's the last 2 Stanley Cup champions going head-to-head. They also met earlier this month, I believe. At the very beginning of the month, the Chicago Blackhawks picked up a 4-1 win on home ice against the Penguins, thanks in big part to a hat-trick from Patrick Kane. Hawks have been hot as of late, but they're looking to shake off a bit of a miserable trip to Florida. They dropped a 7-0 decision on Saturday, a bit of a disaster there, and then on Monday night, they saw a 4-1 lead against the Tampa Bay Lightning evaporate, and they ultimately lost that game 5-4 in overtime. So on a bit of a small skid, I suppose, but that was a rough loss on Monday, especially when they had that 3-goal lead, and then put that with the lopsided defeat of Florida. This team is looking to kind of shake that stuff off rather quick. Although they really don't have a lot to play for as far as positioning goes. They've all but settled top spot in the Central Division, and I believe probably top spot in the West Conference, as long as they don't completely fall apart here in the last couple weeks of the season. The only other Midwest team in action tonight in the NHL is the Blues. St. Louis will be in Arizona to finish off a home-and-home series with the Coyotes. Blues picked up a 4-1 win in St. Louis on Monday night, and they're kind of motivated to get that win tonight as they currently sit in the bottom wild card spot, a spot they won't give up. They will finish. They will be in the playoffs for sure. They can't sink any lower, but they also have a shot at catching the Nashville Predators, who are currently 3rd in the Central Conference. I think they're just 1 point behind the Predators. Both teams in action tonight, and that's the difference between playing Chicago in the opening round of the postseason or probably the Minnesota Wild. Last year, the Blues managed to upset the Blackhawks, but I think all things considered, they'd probably rather play the Wild, so they'll be going for that tonight. In the American Hockey League tonight, Milwaukee at Grand Rapids, a pair of teams that have really battled for top spot in that Central Division through most of the year, but Milwaukee finds himself in 3rd place right now. And while they'll almost for sure finish in a playoff series with Chicago, they'd like to push a little further up and hopefully gain home ice advantage. The Admirals will be in Grand Rapids tonight, where the Griffins have already clinched the playoff spot and are pretty close, I think, to wrapping up the division title. They have a 3-point gap on the Wolves, so I suppose nothing's really carved in cement as of yet, but they also have a couple games in hand, so they should be in pretty good shape. the key in this division is to get hot at the right time. The division is such a crazy thing. Teams going from top to bottom all year long, it seems. But if you get hot at the right time, like last year, the Lake Erie Monsters, now known as the Cleveland Monsters, it was right around now that they kind of started a streak that ultimately carried them all the way to the Calder Cup Championship. I think they only lost 1 or 2 playoff games, and they just all of a sudden got hot. I think they went in as a 2 or 3 seed in the Central Division and just were unstoppable. So this is the point of the season where something like that could propel a team all the way to the championship. Finally, one other game tonight. Port Huron at St. Clair in the Federal League. They only have 2 games left. It's a long shot for the Prowlers. They need to not only win out, but hopefully have the Berlin River Drivers falter a bit in their final 4 games. They have 2 games in hand. So that wraps up tonight's Pro Report. Looks like I'm running out of time, so I'll sign off for now. Like and subscribe would be great if you like this video, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.